Hello random person, Sab Nino here. Welcome to that surprise I kept talking about in Butt-Takes. Beavis and Butt-Takes.
The best name ever.
It's a series similar to Sponge Takes, except instead of SpongeBob, we're talking about Mike Judge's Beavis and Butt-Head, the new revival series. Cause that's another show Scuff and I watch a lot.
Yeah. A while ago, Sab marathoned the original, and then that kind of got me hooked too. And I watched most of the classic series as well. And then, season 1 was coming out, an episode every week of this reboot series, and it's almost as good as the original. Mike Judge is at the heart of it, and he knows what he's doing with these characters, and they're still entertaining all these years later.
I'm definitely more of a casual fan of Beavis and Butt-Head. Guff definitely knows the most about it, but I'm not completely clueless.
Yeah, I grew up with it a bit. I watched it probably younger than I should have.
I wish that was me. Unfortunately, I was raised on Family Guy. But anyway, let's talk about the episodes. The first episode is Meditation Sucks. Beavis and Butt-Head try to empty their minds and find they are surprisingly good at it. Beavis and Butt-Head can beat up gods. That's all I can remember so far.
Just the fact that we have a visual of Jesus punching Beavis and Butt-Head in the stomach from this episode is so hilarious and amazing.
This episode makes me want Beavis and Butt-Head in a brawling game. We need Paramount All-Star Brawl, and they need to be in it. Include Daria, too. There's so many characters they could put in this, but that's a tangent for another day.
But yeah, the idea of an episode about meditation is pretty good. It's funny how they're very easily able to clear their minds because they're so stupid and aren't thinking of anything.
They're just no thoughts, head empty.
Then they transcend and meet Buddha and Jesus and some other religious figures, and then randomly Bill Gates sitting on an exercise ball.
Bill Gates is probably the most punchable design in Beavis and Butt-Head so far. No offense to the real Bill Gates, I know little about him, but the way they design him in here makes him so punchable.
It's a pretty genius idea to have Beavis and Butt-Head make all these deities lose their cool, so they get sent out of the transcended place. Bill Gates at the end is the one to make Beavis and Butt-Head lose their cool, so they go back to their bodies.
No one wants to be near Bill Gates.
Bill Gates owes Tracy's mom a computer. He promised her one and never got it.
Tracy, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. We reference Tracy a lot in these Takes series. I'm surprised nobody asked, who the hell's Tracy?
Well, she's appeared on the channel a little bit. Maybe people know, but she's my awesome girlfriend.
Watch our Eels and Escalator video, it's fun.
But yeah, not too much to say left about this episode. These episodes are pretty short and sweet.
Okay, the next one is Polling Place. Beavis and Butt-Head mistake their neighborhood polling place for a strip club.
I think this is a fun idea for an episode.
The TV, when it was buffering, pissed me off, because the buffering thing was off-center.
Oh yeah, that was driving Seth crazy.
It made my OCD go mad. But I like the premise of the episode. It's a clever pun, polls that are strip clubs, and then there's polls as in pollings. One thing that I definitely thought was really cool about this episode is how they connect strip club to polling, because you'd think they'd be two completely different things. You'd think it'd just be naming alone, but they surprisingly connect the dots on a lot of things. Plus, I'm very surprised on how misinterpret what Beavis and Butt-Head say, which is a common gag, but sometimes it amazes me how much they push it. These are some really clever writers.
Yeah, the writing's always very clever.
I think Butt-Head was just going, she's a slut. And then the polling person, I forgot what her role was, but she was like, look, I didn't care for her either, but she's the best we got.
But it's better than that other guy. Yeah, that was good. Also, it's funny how they think that the older lady is a pole dancer, and they're just like, oh, a little older than I expected, but she looks like she could get down.
I also love the ending, where it's just, oh, everyone with an I voted badge gets into the strip club for free, and they were just like, we're not falling for that.
Yes, I do like it when their own stupidity is like the only thing stopping them from scoring. It's way funnier when it's their own fault. It was funny how they thought the voting ballot was like a stripper menu. They even put money in the ballot box. It's really funny that they wound up voting a little. I don't think they're old enough to vote either, so like it's funny how they skimmed past that. There was a couch gag during this episode. It was about people people using a metal detector to like find old dimes and stuff like that.
I remember they kept calling them turds, but that's about it.
Beavis had a joke about eating entire tiny cars and pooping them out as a kid.
Ew.
He just talks about pooping out half of a Lego pirate ship, which I think is kind of funny. He's like, and that I did show people.
The next segment is Old Man Beavis. Butthead makes Beavis look old so he can buy beer, then ends up in a senior living faculty and almost scores with an 80-year-old woman. Yikes. The premise is basically self-explanatory, and spoiler alert, Beavis does not score with an 80-year-old woman. But what do you expect? It's Beavis and Butthead. Only one iteration in the entire galaxy
Never gonna score.
was able to score.
I did really like this episode though. I thought it was very entertaining. Them being stupid trying to buy beer in the beginning was really funny. Just how they nonchalantly tried to slide it in. It's just like, yep, we like the cold ones.
I love when Butthead was talking to the cashier.
Right, and he's just like, do you, sir?
Do you have money, sir? Do we have it?
Because we could really use some. I love when he just uses like straight up spray paint to dye Beavis's hair and give him a beard. And I like that Beavis is getting dazed because of the spray paint fumes, because that's very dangerous to do.
Beavis and Butthead are prime examples of what not to do at home.
And the way Butthead just actually fucks up his back to make it legit.
Yeah, he was just like, old people say, ow, my back a lot, and then Beavis just like, ow, my back. Butthead was like, no, it was feeling, and then he hits him in the back.
It's funny just how easily persuaded he is to go with the rest of the old people.
Yes, and then an 80-year-old woman just flirts with him. Butthead somehow finds the old folks' home.
I like when he gets to the old folks' home, he's just like, these people know how to party.
When the husband found out that the woman was having an affair and beating up Beavis, it was kind of funny how Butthead was just egging him on.
And he's just sitting there eating the candy.
You know, for a while, I thought Butthead was way too mean to Beavis. But then this series made an episode about Butthead being nice, and it just made me go, no, go back, this is even worse. Good episode, by the way.
And I also like when Butthead interrupts them. Beavis is like, get out of here, just have some candy. And he's like, I don't want your candy, and he takes it anyway. It's cute how he would share something like the candy, because they both really like candy and stuff. The old lady gives Butthead a coin. He's just like, maybe this is worth like $10,000. And I wonder if it was like a reference to the couch gag from the last episode about finding rare coins.
That would be an interesting reference, because typically those are disconnected.
It's also sweet how Butthead holds out his arm to like help Beavis get up the steps and is treating him like an old man. He's just like, I almost scored.
You sure did, Beavis.
It's like that meme. It's like, back in my day, it's like, okay, Grandma. There was a couch gag in this episode. They were reacting to this guy do these frisbee tricks. The choice of video wasn't the funniest, but I do like how they tried to reenact it and like hit the bug spray off of the TV onto Beavis's head out the window. Beavis actually does it successfully, but then he knocks himself out for a second and he's like, did I do it? And Butthead's like, no. You just like won't let him have anything.
That's one thing I appreciate about the newer commentary segments. There's a lot more animation, because I know back in the day when the show was completely hand-drawn, they just reused a lot of animation. Like, they still reuse a lot of animation, but they're able to showcase a lot more with this new rigged style. And even though sometimes it's rough around the edges, it's still a lot of movement.
Yeah, before, like, you could tell they were really restricted with their set animation.
In the revival in 2011, when they did the commentaries, they reused footage from back in the 90s, which really pissed me off. So I'm grateful they just went completely fresh with this new revival. Before we tackle the last episode in this batch, Tom Anderson has a short, which I don't think this show has ever done before.
Yeah, Tom Anderson's War Stories. It's really cool to have a little segment focused on a side character.
I respect it. I respect it a lot. It doesn't take too much of your time, so even if you don't like it, it's over fast.
If they have trouble making one episode long enough, it's nice to have something else.
It would be cool to have more segments like these for more characters. What about the principal? Both teachers could have some fun segments. What if we had an adult Daria? We haven't seen Daria. I wondered what happened to her.
Yeah, it would be nice to have her back.
I like the spinoff a lot.
That's great. Thanks for the Daria shirt.
No problem. We have matching Daria shirts.
As far as his Tom Anderson short, it's a fun short. He talks about his time in the war, and it's really funny because he's fixated on this rust on the boat. There's people dying and everything, and like he just keeps going on about the rust. And it's like, yeah, well, it's only gonna last a couple more years.
Okay, the last episode in the batch is Hunting Trip. Tom Anderson takes Beavis and Butthead to the woods to hunt deer. Out of all these episodes, this is the one I remember the least.
I remember it decently well, and I do like how the Tom Anderson short kind of leads into this.
I agree, it's nice continuity.
I like how badly they want to shoot the gun, and they're just like all about shooting the gun. I just love how they're just like the fucking worst. I like how they do the same bit with Tom Anderson. Oh, like, now you two are some nice responsible young boys, not like those other boys. He's just so old and senile that he keeps thinking they're different people every time.
You're not like those other two kids, Beaver and Asinine. The only thing I remember about this episode is that they drink deer piss. Two deers were having sex in one scene. They mistook Butthead for a deer and tried to shoot it. And that Tom was trying to have a heart-to-heart with the boys, but they just went out and about.
Yeah, and he was talking to nobody and didn't even realize it. I really love how he's just like, well, I've never told anyone this before, but... And then they just walk away.
I felt so bad for him.
Them drinking the urine, it's pretty gross, but it's also so funny that they're just that stupid. They misread deer as beer. See, when they're shooting the gun and it goes straight backwards and gives Beavis a bloody nose. That was really funny. And then Butthead's just looking straight down the barrel. Tom almost shooting Butthead because he thinks he's a deer. It was actually kind of tense just because he's so blind and doesn't know what he's doing that he legit almost killed Butthead. And the only thing that saves his life is him getting distracted by two deers having sex. Then Tom hugs them and then they get piss on him and then he gets attacked by a deer and then he's egging the deer on. Kick his ass.
Didn't Beavis and Butthead think they were fucking?
Yeah, he said that he's scoring with a deer. And he's like, deers are cool. Tap that ass.
That's so fucked up.
Then they end the episode by shooting the camera.
That was a fun fourth wall break.
I'm glad that they give them the free reign to do such edgy stuff like fire guns like that, because I know the show's gotten in trouble before with Beavis saying fire all the time, as well as when they dropped a bowling ball from the top of a building. I'm glad that it's been long enough now to where they can do these edgy things because it's very much within their character, and the whole point is like, don't do what these dumbasses do, so.
Yeah, I definitely love how the restraints are finally taken off. You'd think in this day and age they'd be more restricted, but no, the restrictions have been lifted.
Oh, and there was also a couch gag in this episode.
All I remember is that they kept calling the singer bored. Wasn't the song called Comic Sans?
Somewhere we missed a couch gag too. It was like a Lil Nas X one. I thought it was funny how they weren't grossed out by how overtly gay it was.
I appreciate that. They could have totally made that joke of just, ugh, bunch of naked men, get that away from me.
But yeah, overall, this was a great premiere for the season.
I hope you guys enjoyed. This is just a more off-the-cuff series that we thought we'd do while we record the Pat Takes, while we work on the batches, so you guys still have content. What do you guys think of these episodes? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Are you mixed on them? Comment below. Let's start a discussion. And join us next week for another Pat Takes batch. I just say that because I don't know the names of the episodes coming up. And with all that said, it's all Sab from here.
See you later, dumbasses.